Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of SCUM. That's right. This is the podcast where we dive into the deepest, the darkest, the murkiest of waters with a plethora of legendary guests. And speaking of legends, who better to interview the coolest guest than the hottest host, Rex Ruger. That's Rex with 3 X's. Count 'em, girls. That's a shirt size and a condom size, if you know what I mean. And of course, as I said, I am your bastard of ceremonies, the #1 scumbag, Rex Ruger, a.k.a. the man with the golden voice and the velvet tongue, a.k.a. the hair metal high priest, a.k.a. the king of sleaze, and most importantly, a.k.a. Diamond David Lee Roth Jr. You're looking at him, folks. You're looking at him. The son of glam, the front man for the band, just smoked a few grams, got 1 million fans. Mr. Wop Boppa Loo Boppa Wop Bang Bang. Hot damn, thank you, ma'am. Shazam. Wibbity bibbity babadoo whack wig wham. Woo! I feel good. I don't even know what any of that meant. But I feel like Daddy will be proud. Let me take a look at myself here, because we got ourselves a front man coming in here today. And of course, if you want to look like the stud that I look like, get the product that rocks, and it'll give you the locks, the magic locks. And the girls will be on your magic. You know what I mean. Of course, I'm coming to you, as always, from the Blue Lagoon, the murkiest of waters, the den of sin. This is the No Frills podcast, because I'm 49 years old and I don't give a fuck. I'm coming right at you like an 18-wheeler, driven by Sylvester Stallone and over the top. That's what I'm doing. You get to see me do it all here, folks. Right down to the inviting my guests in, all the dirty work. You don't get no frills because you just get the thrills. Diamond Dave style. Woo! And of course, I would like to pump my own band, Love Sword. You say, where can we check you out? Where can we check you out? Well, you will know soon enough, folks. Stay patient. Still looking for gifted players and virtuosos. So if you want to play behind the greatest front man, second greatest front man behind my pops to ever do it, hit me up. You know what to do. And we got ourselves a good guest tonight, so let's let him in here at the SCUM. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Hey, Keith, how are you, buddy?
Dude, what's going on? I'm
nice
good.
to finally get a chance to talk to you. Now, this is Keith, the singer now of LEATHERWOLF, and I don't want to say your last name wrong. Say it for me, please.
There's 1,000 ways. Adamiak, Adamiak.
I was going to get, I like Adamiak because it kind of rhymes with maniac.
Yeah. That was the nickname in high school. Adamiak.
So you almost have to go with that one, though. It's kind of been, you know.
And I still am.
Grandfathered in. Yeah. You're still a maniac, is what you're saying. Right? Well, as you can tell, you know, this is going to be a conversation between a couple of great front men, because I am obviously the son of, come on, you tell me who I'm the son of. Dude,
it's funny. I did some research, so I should know this on some of your other podcast episodes. Oh man. Well, it's gonna come to me. Let's just say that you, as a front man, should probably look at this guy as one of the top 3 front men of all time. David Lee Roth.
Thank you. Yes. And I don't have conclusive DNA testing yet, man, but I've got a fleet of attorneys working on it, though.
Nice.
I think he was through town around the same time that my mom, became, impregnated. Hey, I mean, Keith, if you listen to the math, it adds up. I've said this before. I'm 49 years old, and Diamond Dave is 67. Now, can we find it that hard to fathom that an 18-year-old David Lee Roth was certainly getting laid?
No, dude.
No question.
It's 100%. Actually, you know what? It's confirmed. We don't even need to get the lawyers involved.
You're right. We don't. You don't. So listen, man, you have landed a very enviable gig in my mind, because I absolutely love LEATHERWOLF. And I'll tell you what, they were kind of like a dirty little secret back in the days, because they never got that exposure. But I was listening to them, they certainly passed the swimming pool test. Swimming outside at night, cranking LEATHERWOLF. And I just think, like, God damn, there's not really a big difference in their sound back then and those classic albums, especially those first 2. The self-titled and Street Ready. And I sit there and I told this to Michael. I've had Michael on the show, and I said, I heard Dokken, And I mean that as a compliment. Dokken went on to maybe not achieve like Motley Crue and Def Leppard type status, but they certainly had a very, very, very respected career, a band like Dokken. Yeah. I hear that, and I think the songs were crafted well. What the hell went wrong?
With Leatherwolf? Like the old school Leatherwolf?
Yeah, the old Leatherwolf. Why didn't the old Leatherwolf become up there in the pantheon of great 80s bands?
You know, I have my own opinions, but I try to stay away from that topic, to be honest with you, brother.
It's a touchy one, huh?
Yeah. For me, it's not my place to talk about it. So when people ask me, I'm like, you know, I'm just going to let those guys handle it, you know, the past. And I'm sure it had something to do with some synergy issues between the members.
Sure. It usually does.
That's as far as I'm going to go with that.
Now, I certainly probably wouldn't be alone in thinking though that, you know, the lineup that I'm speaking of, you know, Dean, Jeff, Kerry, Michael, and Paul is really what I think a lot of the fans really remember as, you know, the quote unquote classic Leatherwolf lineup, you know, and they were one of the first bands to really start kicking ass with 3 regular guitar players. Now, that's something I wanted to ask you about. Will you be playing any guitar?
No, I don't play guitar on this.
So are we down to now a twin guitar attack?
Oh no, we got the triple axe attack. We're scheduled to play a show next Friday.
Okay.
In Minnesota, with Quiet Riot, Burning Witches.
Nice.
There, Tom Kiefer.
Nice.
It's gonna be obviously me singing Wayne Finley on guitar.
Okay.
Rob Nath. Luke Cohen or Luke Mann, and then we got our friend Bryce Snyder, and then Dean. He broke his wrist, so we have a drummer filling in for that show. His name is Paul Gelhar.
Okay.
Drummer of my other band, Ninja Gandhi. He's filling in.
Now, an interesting thing that I read online, and this, I believe I read this straight from the Leatherwolf website, but they kind of described, you know, the addition of you to the band as finding a, quote, diamond in the rough. So what were you doing prior to landing this gig? Just kind of kicking around, doing your own thing? Like, where does Leatherwolf discover Keith?
Well, I think there was a lot of factors at play. The first one is that, you know, I don't really come from like a heavy metal background.
Right.
And what I mean by that is I do way more extreme vocals. I have another band. It's a lot of death metal.
Now you're talking my language, buddy. Now I'm starting to feel a kindred soul on the other end of this now. You know, I mean, you know, I certainly am claiming to be the son of Diamond Dave, man, but that doesn't mean that I don't like my metal a little more extreme than Dave delivered to us, you know?
Yeah, I never had been a part of like a old school heavy metal band like Leatherwolf.
Yeah.
One of the frontmen of another band that I played with a while, like years ago, he knows Dean, and he just connected us.
Okay.
And, you know, Dean was trying out other people. It wasn't just me. So I came in there, and the thing is, I'm from Huntington Beach, Fountain Valley area.
Right.
That's a big deal because that's where all the Leatherwolf guys are from.
Yes. Orange County guys.
And then on top of that, it was just, you know, when I came in, for some reason, the songs, I just fit the vibe. So the other, like, all right, you're in.
You certainly can pull it off. And I also would like to compliment you on, and it confused me a little bit because you said you don't play guitar, but you did just post a very beautiful song that you dedicated to your father. Beautiful.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I play acoustic guitar, you know, and that's my style when it comes to it.
Okay. So a death metal guy that likes to play acoustic. I like that.
Here's the funny part. There were talks about me playing guitar, and I probably could have done it, but ultimately I decided not to. The main reason is because I like to move around on stage, and I really get into the vocals.
Yeah.
I didn't want to sit there and go like this and sing. You get what I mean?
Right. And I think if you're going to use any reason as a front man, you know what I mean, to not do double duty and play guitar, I think that is probably the only acceptable one. And that's pretty much you saying, I want to really put a lot of energy into this performance. You know, I mean, you know, don't anchor me down to one spot, you know?
Yeah. I mean, there's band, I mean, you know, Chuck Schuldiner from Death. I mean, wonderful stage presence. Not that I ever got a chance to see him, but I mean, I've seen old videos and he's, you know, doing the whole thing, all of the leads, you know, all of the vocals,
yeah.
and he's wonderful stage presence. But for me, I really get into the moving around part. So
yeah. So since I've got some bullet points and some notes and stuff to talk to you about, but you mentioning the extreme metal kind of really turns the conversation in a different direction. And I like a good portion of it to be organic. So I mean, I'll ask you about, so what were some of the outside of Leatherwolf, playing in Leatherwolf, what kind of bands did you really start getting into early on? I mean, you were right into the extreme metal bands.
Yeah, it's funny, and when I was, well, actually, let me start from the beginning. So my very first metal band that I ever really got into was actually System of a Down.
Okay.
I remember I was like in 4th grade or something like that, or 5th grade. I can't remember how old I was exactly, but anyways, my friend came over. He's like, "Dude, this stuff's hard, man."
Yeah.
And he puts in Toxicity, and back then that was like really hard. I was used to
blows your mind, right?
And
yeah.
Anyways, I fell in love with them, and I started listening to them all the time. And then, that kind of like, let me put it this way. So most people, when they get into the metal, they get into like Metallica, Megadeth,
right.
Judas Priest. The main guys, right?
Very accessible music too.
And for me, I got into the weird stuff.
Yeah.
Right away, I got into the weird stuff, and it developed into that. And then when I was 15, I want to say, that's when I really delved very deep into death metal. I got into bands like Suffocation, Bloodbath, Opeth, Obituary, Death, obviously. And that I just started to have it. Oh, and another thing too is my dad, he's a big prog rock guy.
Oh, okay.
So I grew up listening to like, Rush, Genesis, Yes. I was named after Keith Emerson from Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Oh, okay. That's cool to know. All right.
So there's all of that background. It made me like not really want to like appreciate like generic thrash as much. So I got like into it as a,
you were looking for something. Yeah. You already knew that your search was taking you somewhere beyond that stuff. Yeah. I think like when me and my friends were the same way. It's like every single week it seemed like, we started out just as 12, 13-year-old kids, and you're listening to, like, just like you said, you think stuff like Def Leppard is the heaviest stuff ever in the world. Then you start to explore, and you start to be like, oh my God, what's faster? What's more brutal? What's more scary? You know what I mean? Where is it? Show it to me. I remember being really blown away and scared the first time I heard Deicide, because I'm just like, wow, every song is like about Satan, and the guy's got a cross burned into his head, upside down cross burned into his head. These guys are terrifying, and then you find the next heavy thing, you discover, Cannibal Corpse. Although the funny thing is that you meet a lot of these guys though, and they're big pussycats though, that's the funny thing.
It's so true, dude.
I met Corpse Grinder at a Cannibal Corpse show. Super nice guy. He was actually the opening band was on. He was actually taking a run over to Target. He's a big shopper at Target. He puts videos up on YouTube about how much he loves to go and get discounts at Target.
What the heck?
Yeah, he's like a big discount coupon. Like one of those guys that like takes his shopping seriously. And Target is his go-to thing. He's done videos on YouTube about it. Yeah.
You're talking about Corpse Grinder, right?
Yeah, Corpse Grinder from Cannibal Corpse. Yeah.
Walking into it. He's walking into a Target, and you're a Target employee, and you see this giant fucking neck.
Yeah. I mean, he's a huge guy, because I took a picture with him out back of the place where they were playing, and I'm every bit of I'm sitting down now, but I'm 6'4", 250, a good sized guy, and he's every bit like right there with me. But the neck, I'm wearing shorts because it's the summertime, and I'm looking at his neck, and I'm thinking that's my fucking upper leg. I mean, Jesus Christ, this guy has a monstrous neck, you know what I mean? But, but he does invite people in the show, though, to, try to keep up with him, like when he's doing the windmill thing, but there's no way you could. I feel like you would pass out, and he's got some kind of he's really perfected that, because that really gets you really, really dizzy.
Dude, I can do it for maybe about 10 to 20 seconds. And
right. And then you want to pass out or go fucking puke somewhere, It's a fucking nightmare. So you weren't looking for generic thrash, but do you remember some of the first extreme death metal bands that that really got you excited? Who was that one? There's always that one that really just pulls you into the whole genre.
Definitely Bloodbath.
Bloodbath, yeah, and Bloodbath is considered like a quote unquote super group, right? Like,
right.
All these guys coming together.
Suffocation for sure. Specifically their self-titled album, which people fight me on all the time, but
yeah,
I was very into the way that they mixed his vocals too.
Yeah,
on that album, and I figured out how they did it. So obviously he's death growling. They take a pitch shifter and they put it just a notch down. They have they have his normal death metal vocals, and then they cut that and then pitch it down just a tad.
Yeah.
And it almost gives a doubling effect, but it's just ever so slightly underneath it, like in pitch. It's like that learning that like blew my mind, and I was like, dude, like this is some of the heaviest shit I've ever seen. And then if we want to, like, I mean, if I had to pick an all-time favorite death metal band, I mean, even though I guess this is maybe generic, but I got really into it, it's obviously Death. I mean, Chuck Schuldiner is, watch him go from like kind of growly mid-range in their first albums, and then he just progressively gets higher. Every album, his voice gets higher and higher to where he does a voice that it's impossible to attain almost, It's kind of
very unfortunate that the young kiddies out there that maybe watch and don't understand that their godfather of the music that they love right now is Chuck Schuldiner. Rest in peace to the great Chuck Schuldiner. But what was great about him too is that there have been death metal bands that have put out epic albums, landmark albums in the genre. But I feel like every death album, from Scream Bloody Gore to Leprosy to Spiritual Healing, they were more than just landmark albums. They were like masterpieces, masterpieces. Like they just keep creating these full length albums. There was no EP in it back then, or no fucking singles like people put out nowadays. Like they were putting out like fully realized 12 13 song albums, man, and they were masterpieces. His playing was masterful. I mean, crazy. I don't think another singular talent has come along in death metal ever than Chuck, with the writing, the guitar playing, the singing.
It doesn't even come close. I mean, in my opinion, doesn't even come close.
I'm a little partial to the Spiritual Healing album in that lineup, because I really like James Murphy's playing, who did some great stuff on Cause of Death with Obituary. Just a great guitar player. Friends with him on Facebook. Really nice guy. But I mean, I think Chuck Schuldiner's got to be like right here, right? And then everybody else is underneath. They have to be, right? I mean, if there's a Mount Rushmore of death metal, he's certainly on it. His face should be on it twice, maybe. I don't know. He's pretty damn, important in that genre,
Dude, it's true, man.
And so, like, what are some of the craziest? Do you remember some of the craziest, like, extreme bands that you've gone to see live?
Black Dahlia Murder.
And that was a crazy show. Why? That was a out of hand pit, or what was crazy about it?
So, when I went to that show, this was at the observatory in Santa Ana, in Southern California. And it was before they called it the observatory. They called it the Galaxy. Okay. And it was owned by a different group of people. And they were a lot more relaxed when it came to like rules and stuff.
Right.
So they didn't care about like stage diving. Like you could go with your steel toe boots and stuff.
Jesus Christ.
Dude, it was absolute madness. And I remember, I met Trevor after the show, and like my face was all bloody because somebody jumped and hit me in the face with a steel toe boot.
Yeah,
like,
that's gonna leave a mark.
Dude, it looks like you had a great time. I was like, yeah, this is fucking awesome. And anyways, yeah, that was one of the coolest shows. And they had a couple summer slaughters there with various bands. I mean, the first time I saw Cannibal Corpse with Corpse Grinder, they were there. Morbid Angel, that was a sick show. I love Morbid Angel too.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I never saw Chris Barnes fronted Cannibal Corpse. I've only seen Corpse Grinder.
Same. I didn't see Chris Barnes either, but I mean, dude, Corpse Grinder's great. I love the
phenomenal. Yeah, phenomenal. And you know what? And you know what? He's the guy that I want out there fronting the band because, and I talked about this on another episode, you know, I come from an era where your bands weren't overly publicized and the market wasn't overly saturated. Whereas, I mean, you could go on the internet and find out any goddamn thing, who they're dating, you know what I mean? What they had for breakfast. You know what I mean? I liked it back when there was a mystique and you were actually terrified of these fucking guys back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't know shit about him. And Corpse Grinder just looks like one of those guys. His on-stage presence, he's got a commanding presence. And plus, when I've seen videos of him getting fucking pissed off. When people like fucking pitch pennies at him or throw something at him, he'll stop the show and be like, I'll come out there and fucking kill you. You know, like he's an intense, go look up, if you go on YouTube later, look up Corpse Grinder Pissed.
Corpse Grinder Pissed.
Yeah. And you'll see some episodes, man, like where he'll be like, I'll come out there and fucking rip your fucking head right off your neck. You know what I mean? Like, he gets intense. He is up there performing. Like, you as a front man, you must have to understand that though, right? That's gotta suck.
Yeah, dude, I've had shit thrown at me. I've had people come on stage and try to like tackle me while I'm performing.
And I'm not talking bras and panties. I'm talking about like, you know, people are throwing like, you know, cans or something or, you know,
and
coins.
Dude, it's acceptable at certain shows. Like, I mean, if I play a show, like, okay, this is something that pisses me off. Not necessarily jumping on stage and doing anything like that, but when people do that flailing shit.
Yes.
You know what I mean? At the metalcore shows.
Yeah.
So like it took me a long time to be okay with it, right? And the only time I'm ever okay with it is if I go to like, I don't know, a Code Orange show or like, you know, I've been getting into like Ghost Main and stuff like that, which is, I don't even know if you'd consider him metal. Probably not. It's more of a rapper, but you know, it's acceptable in certain places, but when I'm playing my death metal roots, you know, my death metal thrash, I want people to have fun and I want them to, you know, do the traditional circle pit. And if somebody gets knocked down, you pick them up. But
absolutely 1000% on you with that. The rules in the pit have changed. And a lot of these kids are just going in there with the idea of socking each other in the face. And that's moshing to them, you know?
Right.
It's almost become like Fight Club to music, you know, like,
but see, if you talk to an older guy about like traditional like hardcore punk shows,
they get it. Yeah, he's
like, oh, that's what we did. That's what we did in the 80s. You know, we used to walk up and sock people in the fucking face.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's hardcore punk. We're talking about death metal. There's a difference. You know what I mean? But, in my opinion, I need to be in the pit every time I'm watching a show, and that's because metal, along with every other type of music, is a conveyance of emotion. And what are we trying to convey with metal? Well, we're conveying the negative emotions, anger, sadness.
Right, and you have an outlet for it. You have an outlet for it there, a release. You know, I mean,
have that. Otherwise, you go fucking nuts. I mean, that's how I am. For sure.
I mean, me pushing 50 and having a couple of back surgeries, I've peeled back from the moshing quite a bit, but I do agree. When I was a young whippersnapper, I fucking did enjoy it, and I do agree with you on the camaraderie, the helping somebody up. It was really more just about the skanking and the dancing around and stuff, and it was a lot more of a frivolous fun. Now it seems like you're saying your you're saying a couple Hail Marys before you go in there. And you're hoping that you come out, in one piece. I mean, I remember the first time I really had a palpable fear of ever going to a show. I was like 17, and then we went to the local dive bar out in Syracuse, and it was supposed to be a Cro-Mag show. And I just remember hearing about all these escapades that would happen at a Cro-Mag show. Stools getting thrown, the punks in the skins getting just out of hand there. Then ultimately we showed up, and they had just broken up like 2 weeks prior. So they fed us a bunch of like local, like a hardcore matinee type show. But I remember really feeling fear, like of the unknown. Like, damn, I don't know what's gonna happen. The Cro-Mags weren't my thing, you know what I mean? So I kind of went with no expectations. So, but upon researching it, I found out more than I probably wanted to know before going, because I felt that a little scared,
It's like, what's that, WebMD, you have any
right. You go on there and freak yourself out. Yeah, it's no good. And you start going on there.
It's cancer. It's some viral disease,
Tell you a list of maladies that you have that are going to fucking keep you up at night. It's scary. So, so as the front man of Leatherwolf, do you feel any kind of pressure because, you know, and I've had Michael on the show and I love him to death. I really do. I hope there's no animosity or anything at all between you guys, because you're a great guy too. And he didn't have anything at all negative to say. You know, when I briefly, you know, brought up your name, he just basically said that he didn't really know who you were that well, you know, and, you know, but he wished the band well and everything. But do you feel like those are big shoes to fill? I mean, not in the sense that he became like a, you know, a Vince Neil or a Bret Michaels or anything, but he is a pretty good frontman, though, with a great voice and the ability to really play guitar.
Well, he's iconic. I mean,
yeah, they're big shoes. They're big shoes for sure.
He's like he's a hero to me. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Just the music world, and you know, no one or nothing is ever going to pollute that for me. I mean, the guy has, you know, and when you're a singer, you look for tone, and there is no tone like his.
Right.
You know, and, and it's kind of like I use this guy as an example a lot, but Bradley Noel of Sublime.
Oh yes.
He's not like the best singer in the world, really good, but not like amazing. But you know what sold a lot of records for them is his tone. Yeah. And you know, Mike is a really good singer, and he's got good tone.
Yes, he does. Yeah, I agree with that assessment. Definitely.
He's got the best of both, and you know, I'm very grateful to be in this position, and I wish everybody the best. You know, and it's funny, you know. Mike's always the first one whenever I release a video or something of me doing like my acoustic stuff. He's always the first comment.
Very nice guy. Very nice guy. And I was super excited to have him on. I had him on a couple weeks ago. I haven't aired his episode yet, but I mean, you should have just seen the notes that I took and the shit that I wanted to ask him about. I mean, I mean, there was just so much freaking shit that I think I spent, you know, damn near an hour and a half with him. You know what I mean? But I just wanted to pick his brain. He was actually kind enough to try it the night before. He had a couple hours to kill before band practice, and he tried to do it out near the beach in California. Unfortunately, he just wasn't getting a good transmission. And I specifically said, don't feel bad. I'd rather try it again tomorrow night when you're near a better connection, because I want your interview to be a great quality interview. I want the fans to hear you and be able to see you. And, you know, he's getting a little pixelated and he was freezing up and stuff. And it was just not a good connection, you know, and he was very gracious and actually really stoked that I was so stoked to talk to him. You know, like I told you today, I was stoked to talk to you. Like, now you're part of Leatherwolf. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just it's a great lineage, because I'm always going to like look at them as that band. And unfortunately, I say this about a lot of bands who are very talented. And I think a lot of it comes down to luck and timing. But unfortunately, man, I think those two things were in Leatherwolf's corner. And I think they're bigger than people think, you know?
Yeah.
Because the talent and the songwriting and the instrumentation and all that stuff was there. It was all there.
Yeah. And they, like, you know, they pioneered the triple axe attack kind of thing. And there's a lot of good stuff going. I don't really know exactly what happened, but if I had to boil it down, I think it might have just been a difference in opinion from the director band and maybe some other drama. I don't know. But either way, I mean, these kind of things happen. The coolest thing about music is that you can record it. And it lives forever.
It does.
You know?
Yeah.
So at least I get to go and listen to them whenever I want.
I know, that's true. I know. And now, you know, just, you know, being able to stream stuff. I mean, you literally have the ability of, like, you know, whether or not you're in favor of it or not, it's here to stay, obviously. And you can literally go and find, like, you know, we have the family plan, Apple Music or whatever. You can literally go on and find everything. That's not the case when you go to your record store no more, because, you know, the CD section is shrinking right up, and you can maybe find the last thing, but you can't find back catalogs of anything. And if you just go on the shelf and look at a store,
you know, I'm on board with streaming, and a lot of musicians fight me on this all the time, but I'm on board 100%. And the reason why is because, you know, I'm coming from nobody's heard of my music. You know what I mean? Like, if I was, you know, famous already and not making any money, I might have a problem with it.
Right.
Nobody knows who the hell I am. So when I tell people, hey, go listen to this, go listen to one of my songs right here.
Right.
You know, they actually have the link right away. They can go,
they're there. Boom. Yeah.
Wow, this is really cool. And then they become a fan a lot quicker, as opposed to, you know, I really want you to listen to my band. Okay, where do I get your music? Well, you know, I don't. You have to carry spare CDs.
It's just there. You just got to tell someone, you know, here's the name of my band, and then boom, it's right there at their fingertips. Everything you've ever done. You know, everything that's ever been recorded.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to make fans and maybe even keep them if they can keep listening.
But what about the making the money part of it though? Are musicians just dismissing streaming because nobody's really harnessed and found like a true way to make money off it the way they did in the old days, where you got signed to a label and got a record contract? For the kids out there watching, they used to give bands contracts and front them money and give them advances and pay for videos for them, and pay for going on the road the right way in very nice buses or planes. All that's gone now.
Yeah, that stuff, it still happens, but it's just labels are very selective. And actually, I watched this interview recently, and actually, you might know what I'm talking about, but they interviewed Frank Zappa a long time ago.
Yeah.
And they were like, why is the music industry changing, and why isn't like new innovative stuff coming out as much as it used to? And basically he was saying, well, back in the day, the people who were in charge of these labels had no idea. They didn't have like a idea of what music should be. They just said, let's take a chance and see what happens. And that's why all these amazing bands came out, 60s, 70s, 80s. It doesn't happen like that anymore. Now it's like the guy who is the CEO, he worked his way up from getting coffee, for the higher ups, and then all of a sudden 20 years later he is the label. And he's the guy that calls the shots, and he's like, well, that doesn't sound the way that it's supposed to. The kids like that. Right. Shuts the
whole thing down. Yeah.
And so they're so selective. I mean, when was the last time that you actually ran into or saw or knew an A&R guy that actually goes to local venues and says, oh, a scout, for a label?
I know. You're right. Yeah. And you used to hear about that happening all the time. Mm-hmm. Somebody would just go out and try to catch your gig.
You have to send like a press package, and they get like 300 of them a day, and it's like, everything gets lost in the mix. You have to have 10,000 followers on Instagram or Facebook to ever make it, to even be considered. So that's the world we live in. But to answer your question about the money part, the streaming, with that being out, it just shifts the money. The money isn't completely gone. It just, you have to do other stuff now. And thing.
Where's the money go, Keith? Where's the money go? You said it gets filtered. Where the hell's it going? It's not going in your pocket, is it?
Well, it's another. Bands can't just rely on the music to make the money anymore.
Right. A lot of it is live, and I hear a lot of bands and guys and bands coming on here really singing the praises of playing live and merch.
Oh yeah, merchandising, and specifically like public image.
Yeah.
Like one of the biggest bands, one of the richest bands, I should say, is Kiss, right?
Oh, of course.
And Kiss, they made characters out of themselves.
They did. They branded themselves. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they're geniuses.
Slipknot did that. I mean, that's kind of the route that bands have to start going in order to
you're hitting on something that I totally agree with, and I've told other people this. It might sound cheesy and you might feel like a sellout for doing it, but what people do remember sometimes is a good old-fashioned gimmick. I mean, if you can find like a niche, there's a reason that Ghost dresses the way they does, or King Diamond paints his face for a reason. Even the clown, even Insane Clown Posse. I mean, people laughed at them in the 90s when they came out, and now look, here they are 30 years later, man. They've gone nowhere.
Yep.
They got their own fucking festival. I mean, people panned them and stuff and just said these guys will be a flash in the pan. Kiss too. I mean, Kiss, admittedly, were not great musicians, and certainly not the greatest rock band in the world as far as technicality of playing and musical prowess. By no means were they all that great.
And it's also changing the sound to fit the times too. That's another deal. But you got to do it. Especially in metal, you got to do it in a way without going too mainstream, because if you do, your fans will hate you. So, who does a really good job at that is Rob Zombie.
Yeah, he does.
Dude, I saw him the other day. They played with Mudvayne. Oh, dude, the guy is I don't even know how old he is. I think he's in his 50s, and he's
one of those guys that's a creative force. He's a creative force all the time.
And he's running. He's sprinting to the other side of the stage. Like the guy like does not take a fucking break. He's awesome.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. So who are some guys, because obviously, and for those of you who haven't watched, I hope you don't mind me saying that song that you dedicated to your father is on your Facebook page. But it obviously shows your ability to sing a sensitive song and really show the tone and texture of your voice. So you obviously can sing. Who are the first guys that you ever remember being blown away by their voices?
I have a favorite female and a favorite male singer.
Okay.
Favorite female singer is Denise Williams.
Who?
Denise Williams.
Okay, I was going to say Bret Michaels is mine. I've always stuck by Bret Michaels being my favorite female singer. Why are you saying he's not? No, he's great. He's great, and I've seen Poison, and he seems like a really fantastic guy. I just think back to how cringeworthy some of those guys could be back in the 80s,
Yep. I mean, shoot.
Okay, so Denise Williams.
Denise Williams, she does that for people watching that don't know Denise Williams. She does that one song. Oh love, stop making a fool of me.
Look at that.
Her vibrato is perfect.
Is she also the one who brought us the hit smash? Let's Hear It for the Boys.
I don't think so.
Are you sure?
Maybe she is. I'd have to look that up. I wish I could look it up right now, but I think I would get out of this video by accident or something.
Wait a minute. Are you using your phone?
Yeah, I'm using.
All right, then you carry us for a minute, buddy, and I'll look it up.
Yeah, Denise Williams, and her vibrato it's perfect. There's no
Okay, so what's the title of the song that you're talking about?
Silly. It's called Silly. Silly of me to think that I could ever call you my guy. How I love you.
I love it. I just look and you just I do the research and you carry us with an impromptu concert. That's the best.
Yeah. And her voice, sometimes it hits this it hits like a certain part where it doesn't even sound like somebody singing. It sounds like a synthesizer almost. Like it's too perfect. But then you look back at when she recorded, and that song that I'm talking about was recorded in 1976. So I mean, it's like, oh my god! Like
I do believe that she is the same one who sings. Let's hear it for the boys.
Maybe she is.
It is, and I'll tell you why. Because there's not many people who spell their name Denise with a C. She spells it with a C.
Is it? I thought
DENIECE. So it's almost like it's almost like DE and then the word niece.
Yep, that's right.
Wow. So for the kids out there that really don't know, the song to really look up, though, man, as much as that's a great song that you sang to everybody, Silly, she's probably really known for that cheesy, over-synthesized "Let's Hear It for the Boys" tune. That thing was everywhere.
Dude, I can't believe I didn't know that. I should know that.
Whoa, let's hear it for the boys. Yeah, I mean, come on, man. Even pop music was better in the 80s, no doubt about it. Even the pop was better. The pop, actually, I think some genres of metal have actually progressed and have gotten a lot less silly than they were in the 80s. But pop was better back then. Actual pure pop music.
Yeah, dude. Oh, for sure. That people are actually bringing the synth kind of synthwave like type of 80s style pop back. I know.
Yeah.
Is doing that right now.
I want to ask your opinion on this though, because you are a fan of extreme metal though. Can I've debated this before. Can metal get to the point where it's almost too heavy and too undecipherable and it becomes not enjoyable? Like, how extreme can you really go with your metal? Are there any bands out there? I have a couple in mind that might be bordering on, is it even still music anymore? But yet still brilliant though. So I'm really on the fence. There's a band called Portal. Have you heard Portal?
I've heard of Portal.
Yeah, Australian extreme death metal. It really brings back the fear because the lead singer, I swear to God, I can't find any details about these guys anywhere. They've managed to do the mask and the costume thing and maintain their anonymity. probably being in Australia probably helps that some, man. But the other guys, executioners masks and the lead singer, and they don't use their names. There's no way to find a fucking thing about these guys, and they do bring back the fear in that genre again.
Well, there's a band called Anal Cunt. Have you ever heard of Anal Cunt?
Yes, and that's another band that I'm thinking of too. That just could be is it obnoxious noise, and has it ceased to be music?
It's gimmicky, so people like them. You know what I mean? They're
right. But is it anything that you want to drive down the road and enjoy?
No, but sometimes you put your like. It's funny I'm saying this. So I'm Christian, but like I like to get a rise out of old Christian conservatives. It's hilarious.
Yes.
But you're going down the street and you see this like buttoned up couple on a church Sunday walking out of church, and you blast them in front. Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah. And you're driving by blasting. So you're saying, man, that you're driving by and you're blasting Anal Cunt while these people are walking out of church. I love that.
Well, because they don't get it, dude, and that's the funniest part about it. They don't understand why anybody would do that.
Right.
Really, what it comes down to is, you don't. Like I said back, not that long ago, a few minutes ago, music is a conveyance of emotion, and people want to ignore the negative. Yeah, and they can't fathom why somebody would sit there and scream at you. That's funny to me. That's hilarious because I'm very deep into music, so I'm just like, yeah, you don't get it, so it's hilarious. Let me find.
All right, but is it possible out there? And I have two issues with that band, and I love that we're on the topic of them, man. Anal Cunt, first of all, doesn't seem like two words that should ever be annexed together or even close by each other, man. And I also think, man, that it'd be very difficult to tell somebody, hey, the party's on, I'm going to slap on some Anal Cunt, or tell your grandmother that your favorite band is Anal Cunt. I mean, you know what I mean? Like it really puts up some roadblocks in your everyday life. It's awfully hard, to say, yeah, we were driving along in the car, we were having a nice chat, listening to some Anal Cunt. You know what I mean? It always sounds bad no matter which way you play it. It sounds bad though, right? Like, and I'm talking about extremity. Extreme music, even in the sense of even a name like that. Like, does it go too far trying to attain a certain heaviness? And we're just like you said, it always becomes laughable.
Yes. The answer is yes. But
yeah, it's stupid.
Those guys are hearing it. They're gonna listen to this and they're gonna be like, fuck you.
Right, because getting back to what we said previously, though, that over the top extremeness is almost their gimmick. So to speak. It's a gimmick.
Like, have you ever went to see like a punk band? And I couldn't give you an example off the top of my head, but they will play a song and it'll be 5 seconds long and it'll be
yeah. The last concert that I went to, and I don't want to by any means mean any disrespect to these bands because they are New York. I'm in upstate New York. You know what I mean? So you mentioned Suffocation before. Those are New York death metal guys right there. And of course our legendary New York hardcore scene is the stuff of legend. So I went to see Agnostic Front and Sick of It All. But Agnostic Front in particular have been guilty of just having those, like, I don't think they're as short as 5 or 10 seconds, but they have those ones, they're like 45 seconds to like a minute, where they're just like, blinding speed and just, but there's usually a message weaved in there somewhere though,
Right. Yeah. It's got
about sticking it to the man or, fuck the system or whatever, there's always some kind of, anti-establishment type of, motto in there somewhere,
Dude, my whole mom's side of the family is from Syracuse. That's funny.
Oh, I'm right down the road from Syracuse. Yeah, that's probably the next closest big city to me.
Are you in Oneida?
I'm very close to Oneida. I'm probably like 10 minutes away from Oneida.
Dude, I've been to Oneida 1,000 times. I got family out there. That's cool.
Yeah. We got the big Turning Stone Resort and Casino out here. Yeah.
Right.
That's where all the 80s bands come to nowadays, man. A lot of them like to do these casino gigs, man. They love the casino gig. I've gone there to see. It seems like now it's become an annual thing, almost to the point where me and my buddy that goes to these with me, we laugh about it because it's the same tour package every year. And for some reason, our little casino in Oneida every year gets Great White and Slaughter.
Oh,
Just those two bands come all the time, man. But the only thing I don't really like though is the times that I went there. Slaughter, I mean, is really who I'm going for, man. I like Great White more with Jack in the band because I think he gives those songs their true grit and their blues pedigree. The time that I saw him, they had this guy, Mitch Malloy. Great voice, you know what I mean? But just a little too blonde and a little too, I come right out and say it just looks a little too glammy to be singing Great White songs. Great White had the piano and they were there's a lot of blues roots when you really dig down there and look, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
you know, I don't think anybody can give a better representation of those songs than Jack, you know, and of course they've gone on to do the whole, like, Great White, and then there's Jack Russell's Great White, that dreaded thing that those old bands do where they split into two different versions of the same band. I hate that.
Yeah. Well, that's what's happening right now.
I know. So are you saying right now that we're going to get two Leatherwolves?
Yeah. That's the way it's looking.
That would suck.
Yeah.
No, you're not going to get two. I don't think you're going to get two Leatherwolves because, I mean, usually when it comes down to legalities like that, someone always has to change. Someone's always at the end of the day got dibs on the name. And you know, from everything that I've seen, it's Dean. You know, I mean, it's kind of his. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, from what I understand. And that stuff is like public knowledge. You can find that stuff online and stuff. You know what I mean? When you copyright a name, like, you know, some bands have gotten their name copyrighted right out from underneath them. You know, I think case in point, Great White, Jack was going through the way he tells it anyway. He was going through some health issues. And he sounded like he was in a goddamn coma and they went and got the copyrights of the band name. You know, I mean,
yeah.
So what's it like now? Like, what kind of gigs at this stage of their career do Leatherwolf do? Do you guys mostly do those flyaway? I don't want to laugh about the casino gigs or whatever, but, you know, you go do a couple and then come back. I mean, you guys aren't hitting the road for like weeks and months at a time anymore, are you?
Well, we had plans to do that in Europe, and you know, Dean broke his wrist, so we had to cancel those shows. We would have still gone through with it had we had more time to get a fill-in drummer, but
right.
Yeah, it was like literally like 2 weeks before the show happened, and then it's all bad mojo. But yeah, I mean, we did one earlier this year in Maryland, the M3 Rock Festival. That was a lot of fun. Kind of just a one-off, and then we came home. Let's see, we're doing one next week. Same kind of thing, one-off. But what's going down is we're releasing an album, and that's going to be out in the fall.
Nice.
Couldn't tell a release date yet because I don't know, but it'll be.
Do we have a name for the album?
Looks like it's going to be called "Kill the Hunted," which is that's a track, one of the tracks on the.
I like that. So we're going to get, and this is not going to be an EP or anything like that. It's going to be a fully realized full-length album.
Full-length album. That's going to be out in the fall, and once that comes out, dude, this album's, in my opinion, going to change the game. I mean, I know everybody probably says that about their band, but I'm just saying, like, this album's really fucking good. In terms
of what, has something for everybody, or it's just a ripper all the way through?
I mean, you know, even with a lot of the other bands that I've dealt with and recorded for, there's always like one or two or sometimes more songs that I'm just like, I can't say that about this album. There's every song is just so good. It's like the whole thing is just amazing, and it keeps the old Leatherwolf sound and just adds like a whole new level to it. And it's just great, dude. I'm
not saying by any means that every song has got to be a ripper. You know, I certainly like when Leatherwolf would take a stab at ballads and power ballads. Because I remember asking Michael about that because, you know, they had a couple of more slowed down songs on the debut album, but then Street Ready is just all fucking rippers all the way through. They didn't go soft at all on that album. I mean, it's just heavy track after heavy track.
That's gonna kind of be how this is.
I like that. That's good too.
We've definitely taken a step towards the heavier direction in this album. So we're gonna be releasing that sometime in the fall. Once that gets released, that'll open some doors for like tours and stuff like that. Right.
Sure.
And also we're gonna be playing a lot of the newer songs, which is what we've been wanting to do. I mean, we love the old songs, but we've been we've been really wanting to share those with the world. So hopefully when that comes out, you'll be hearing more from us in the news and stuff like that.
Awesome. So what's the with the combination of guys you have in the band right now, like what's the camaraderie like, and what's the creative process been like? Does someone come in with a lot of lyrics or ideas already, or are you guys, is it kind of like a collaborative effort? Because obviously it's no secret that, and I talked about this with Michael too, a lot of guys have come and left, and there's been a lot of personnel changes, and what seems like, unfortunately, and we touched on this earlier, some unharmonious, moments in that band that have caused guys hard feelings to leave. And, I know Michael himself has been in and out like 2 or 3 times, and I mean, we certainly talked about that. Do you think right now, though, you've got a good lineup that feels like everyone's on the same page? And how do you create with these guys?
Yeah. So, half of the band that has been playing live shows with us recently is from another band called Railgun.
Okay.
Luke Man has been playing with Leatherwolf for a few years. And then obviously, Rob Math has been playing forever.
Yes. Yep.
Dude, Rob and me and Luke and Bryce, the bass player, we get together famously. And these guys are my friends. I mean,
sure.
Rob I met through Leatherwolf, but Luke and Bryce and we go way back. I've done tours with them with like a different band, and dude, we're like brothers. You know what I mean? It's
right.
It's so easy to get along with them. We have the same sense of humor, and it's funny because we were a little bit worried about like Rob having that sense of humor, but I have like videos of him from our last show that we played together, and he's the exact same way, dude. He's so.
Yeah.
And then Wayne Finley, he's done a lot of other like really big gigs and everything. And same thing, whenever somebody new comes in, it's like, oh man, like, I don't know, are we going to vibe with this guy? And dude, we vibe really well. As far as how we write songs, it's usually me and Dean and Rob.
Okay.
And I write the vast majority of the lyrics and the melodies, and Dean, has written a couple different songs too in this new album, and he like produces what I write. So it's kind of like I'll come in with the idea, and it'll be a lot of times we don't have to change much, maybe a little thing here or there, and then sometimes we just kind of collaborate and say, well, this phrase doesn't really fit right there, so why don't we switch it up? And like Dean will write something, or he'll suggest something, and then I'll be like, okay, but I like that, but we'll switch it a little bit different. As far as the lyrics go, Rob did a lot of the solo work. Luke did a few solos on the album. Rob's solo style and the way that he plays rhythm is very unique.
Yeah.
It's unlike anything I've ever seen. Like, the guy has a certain type of soloing. He just shreds, dude. It's like, how else can I put it? And Luke, Rob will sit there for like 12 hours, and he'll just bang out a solo, but he'll just add and subtract until it's perfect. Luke will go home, think about it for a long time, come and do it. Doesn't work. Goes home, thinks about it for a long time, comes back, and then like he's a lot more methodical, whereas Robbie will just sit there and grind it out all day long until it goes through.
So is it safe to say that Rob is a math whiz? Huh?
That's
all right, so the last thing you guys put out, though, you guys did just release a single, though, right? Hit the Dirt. That's not that long ago, right? So what's that song about? Like, what's the message if people want to go find that song, man? Like, what's Hit the Dirt all about? Leatherwolf.
It's got some dual meanings in there, but when I originally wrote that song, that was about glamorizing villains in America, and then more people want to
emulate that.
This is what happens. Media, we take something horrible, a tragedy, right? Like a mass shooting. That's what the song was about. It was about the Vegas shooting.
Right.
And they beat it to death. And they glorify the villain, and I'm not saying, oh, like this guy's a good guy. I'm saying like his face is in the news every fucking day for like months, sometimes years. And then of course, when you hear that and you're having these thoughts as some damaged, barely 18-year-old kid,
right?
You know what I mean? And you're like, oh, that guy's getting all this fame and glory, and this is how we stick it to people, right? That have messed with us. And then then a school shooting happens.
Right.
Like, well, it's the guns, and it's like, maybe that plays a part in it, but it's really what it is just we can't give people attention that do horrible shit.
Right. And when it comes to the gun thing, and I said this on an episode just recently, that that the gun issue is not so much about, I said this, lunatics and people that are going to want to do wrong are always going to find a way to get their hands on a gun. The world wants us to be so leery of guns, but yet they want to be so open and ready to give everybody these concealed carry permits. So have we really progressed that far? It's like we're turning everything right back into the wild west again. So someone's going to cut you off in traffic and you're going to just put a bullet through them and just move on with your day. I mean, then now all of a sudden you've got the nation all running around armed, and you probably have a lot of those people probably have some, mental illness, but they're able to hide it. I mean, so much of the world is running around with anxiety and depression, undiagnosed, I mean, it's huge.
You hit the nail on the head with that.
It's huge. And people aren't seeking help for that, but, instead they're going out and spending their money instead of on a prescription for, some Zoloft, they're going out and buying a gun and thinking and acting on the horrible things that are coming into their mind when they really need help, a lot of them. And then you're right. Then they become like, the poster child for being a villain, when most of those people probably just needed some help in the first place. I mean,
I don't publicly like this. If this is going to, be released, I usually don't try to get involved in politics. And if me and you are sitting down having a beer, just me and you, I tell you my real opinion. But this is something that I'll just throw out there.
Yeah.
Before the 1980s, it was legal completely to walk around anywhere in this country with a full-fledged assault weapon.
Yeah.
And people weren't committing school shootings and mass shootings.
Right.
In the frequency, it's not even close, in the frequency that they are today.
Right.
And we outlawed them, right? And every year something gets released and we restrict guns more and more and more and more. And the ironic part is that this phenomenon that we're experiencing gets worse and worse and worse.
Exactly.
And the guns just keep getting restricted more and more. So obviously, it's the evidence is very clear that it's not the problem with the guns. It's something else.
Right.
What that is, we could go deep into it, but
I
think you hit the nail on the head. People are getting crazier.
They are. That's the scary part. They're getting crazier, and they're getting more blinded by, oversaturation of this technology and staring at these fucking blue lights and just, overstimulated all the time. I find that, that I was reading a study the other day where they're really saying that, people fucking around with their cell phones before bedtime, man, and getting crushed by that blue light are staying up. They're having a hard time sleeping. It's not good. It's got your mind racing. It's got you thinking, you need time to, to decompress before you go to sleep.
Yeah, and a lot more people are into video games and Netflix and all this stuff, and they don't go outside anymore. And so
that's true too. Yeah, that's huge.
My life is I go and do like major hikes, in various different national parks, and
I've seen your stuff up on Facebook of shots you've taken when you're out hiking. Yeah,
they call me the poncho guy, staunch paunch.
Staunch paunch.
This may be gross to some people, but I don't give a shit. I've never washed that poncho, and I've gone on many hikes.
No, I wouldn't. I mean, I have a battle vest loaded with patches, and I would never see a reason to want to risk damaging it all by washing it. I mean, like the crud in anything that's on there is part of the spirit of the jacket.
That's the point, dude. I mean,
it is the point.
That thing has saved my life. That last time I hiked Half Dome, that shit saved my life, that poncho.
What was it about writing the song Hit the Dirt that you said specifically was about the Vegas shooting? What kind of spurred that? Were you touched by that personally, or knew somebody involved in that? Or was it just something that was just, you couldn't get off your mind and had to write about it?
I knew several people got involved, that were involved.
Okay. So it touched you very personally then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I wasn't there, but I could have been very easily.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I knew I had a coworker, and he watched like a family member die right in front of him, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff, a lot of other people that were there, and somebody that wasn't super close to me did end up passing away, but I knew of them, and I'd met them a handful of times, and it just got me thinking, dude. It's like, people go out there, and there's always like conspiracies and stuff, but in my opinion, I think that we and one of the last lines that I say in that song is everybody's looking for the villain.
Right.
And that's so true. It's his fault.
Right.
It's his fault.
We love to do that. Yeah, we love to do that as a society. We do.
We've
all been guilty of it.
And when you do that, when you try to villainize people and you make them famous for it, or infamous, as the correct term would probably be, then it creates copycat killers, and that's basically what's happening. We prolong it.
People trying to outdo each other. Yeah.
It's funny too, because a lot of mass shootings happen all the time.
Yeah.
And they don't get in the news.
Right.
And the reason why it doesn't fit the specific agenda.
Right.
People in Chicago and South Central and New York City, they're getting shot up every day.
Yeah, they just stopped reporting on those years ago. Yeah, I mean, there's still gang violence going on in South Central, but they just stopped reporting on it now. It's not as topical anymore now. I mean,
well, because they can't spin it into something that fits the narrative of that will take away guns, because those guys don't get their guns legally.
Right. On a lighter note, Keith, before we fucking get all of our viewers on here fucking starting to think that this is the Rush Limbaugh show, what I mean?
Yeah, I know, seriously.
We won't get too political on everybody, but I did see a video of you on there, and I thought this was really cool because I have one as well, and I find the thing really, really fun. I've got a Merlin Seagull too. I saw you playing a Merlin Seagull. You own one of those?
Yeah.
That's what they're called, right? I've seen them called strum sticks, but very thin. It's only got it's got the string, the middle string, and then the two very close together.
Yeah. A dulcimer. You're talking about the dulcimer.
It looks like a dulcimer, but isn't it made by Merlin? I think they call it a seagull, right?
Here, I can grab it really quick.
Yeah. I was gonna bring mine upstairs too, but I forgot it. But yeah. They're fantastic.
This guy, right?
Yes. I love that thing. The only thing was I had to make a little strap for it though, because that wood is very slick.
Yeah.
But if you're playing it sitting down like you are, it doesn't say Merlin up there. No, I guess a seagull. But they're made by Merlin. I think that's the company that makes them, Merlin.
Yeah, these things are sick, dude.
They're super fun. They're super fun. And you know what? I'm not a musician, man, so 3 strings is perfect for me. I mean, and you can make some cool noise on them. I've watched some YouTube videos where people have turned those things into replicating a lot of songs.
And this is all in like the key of D.
Yeah, D-A-D.
Chords, right?
Yeah, it's great.
You can't play a wrong note, which is
you can't. No. It's in fact, it's you can't fuck up on that thing.
Yeah.
It's an instrument made for, like when they put out those books, where it says, playing guitar for dummies. You know what I mean? Like that's what this thing literally is come to life. One of those books. Here's an instrument that even you can't fuck up if you're terrible, and someone just hands you that thing. Here, make some music on this thing. Yeah, you're right. You can't strike a bad chord anywhere. Everything sounds nice. And it does have that kind of nice little twang on that bottom string where it's almost like banjo-esque.
Yeah. It sounds like a mix between like a banjo, a ukulele, and a guitar, like all at once.
Yeah. It does. It's probably not something you'll ever see being used by. Probably not something you'll ever see used by anal cunt.
That's so true.
That is true. So let me ask you this, man. Let me ask you this. Are there any other projects that you're involved in, like musically, other than Leatherwolf? Like, or do you get all your creativity out in Leatherwolf? You must have your hand in something else. I mean, you strike me as the type of guy that's probably in multiple bands, at least another one.
it's good and bad, but I'm kind of a band whore. So I'm in Leatherwolf. I'm in a band called Ninja Gandhi.
Yes. Yep. I was going to bring Ninja Gandhi up. Now, what kind of music for people that are watching is Ninja Gandhi?
Oh, dude, if I tried to pin it down, I don't know if that would do.
But if you had to put it into a general category, thrash, death metal, rock, you know.
So there's a lot of death metal.
Okay.
We have a lot of growls, a lot of screams, but we also have a lot of like heavy metal, like just singing type of parts, but not like metalcore where they got those lame pussy ass whining vocals. Like
yeah.
We do a lot of weird stuff. I mean, it's like progressive, you know. It's like, God, it's so hard to explain. Prog rock meets death metal meets thrash, and then we have like a lot of System of a Down influence. That's a big deal. All of us love System. So there's a lot of like weird gimmicky stuff in there. And
where does the name Ninja Gandhi come from? Who names the band?
You know what's funny? We actually just were sitting in my garage when I was like 19 or something. Yeah. And one of my guitar player, I mean, I wish I could tell you that it was some serious thing, but he just kind of like was babbling and then said Ninja Gandhi, and we're like, oh.
There it is. Yeah, it just names itself, right? Because I find the hardest thing is and I've heard other people say this too. Sometimes coming across the band name that isn't taken can be very difficult.
Oh yeah, for sure. We were gonna name it Spirit Bomb because we're all into like Dragon Ball Z and stuff, and they have the Spirit Bomb. Yeah. But we were like, nah, that's like too much related to Dragon Ball Z. So anyways, we liked that name, and later on things have meaning, you know. So
yeah.
One of the things that I like to explain to people is you know, Gandhi was like one of the champions of peaceful protest.
Right. The antithesis of death metal, definitely, right?
Right. And
which makes it hilarious.
Is violent and moves around in the shadows, you know? And so it's definitely a contradiction right there. And, you know, we have ideas of like making him into like a comic book character, and there's a bunch of stuff I'm thinking about.
Yeah, I like that.
It's definitely a weird band, and we're coming out with another album too, probably around the same time Leatherwolf does. So going forward, like, what do you see the big picture of Leatherwolf being? Like, you know, are you hoping for like, you know, a serious run in this band, like a lot of longevity? Is this just something that you want to try for a short time? I mean, you know, you're so new to the band, you know, that are you absolutely sure of the fit and going forward? Like, you know, you're committed to Leatherwolf? Yeah, man. I'm in it for the long haul. I've told the other guys this. I really love the sound. You know, I want to, you know, get my name out there too. That's a big part of it. You know, I can do stuff in Leatherwolf that I can't do in like Ninja Gandhi per se, and vice versa. You know, but it's just a different sound. But I really do believe that this next album is going to be a big deal. Yeah. And if it lives up to that expectation, then yeah, dude, I'll ride it as long as I can.
Well, yeah, why the fuck not? Absolutely. So let me talk about like the live experience, because you do have a good voice. You know, what is it that you think as a front man that you bring to Leatherwolf, that you know, like if you were telling somebody that hasn't seen Leatherwolf live, you know, coming to see them live now with you fronting the band, they're going to get, you know, what type of experience? What do you think your strengths are that you bring to Leatherwolf?
Well, it's a movement kind of from the more glammy sound to the heavy metal sound.
Yeah,
that's really what it comes down to, and that actually, believe it or not, pisses a lot of people off.
Yeah.
In a good way sometimes, and in a bad way. You know what I mean? It's like,
yes, of course I do. Yeah.
It's kind of like less pretty. I mean, even the new lyrics, they're different than like a lot of the old stuff that Leatherwolf wrote.
Yeah.
They're a lot about taking control of your life and less, you know, there's no love songs or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Fuck love,
Nothing,
right? Yeah. Hell with love.
Nothing like that. So it's, yeah, seriously. Fuck love. I mean, I agree.
Are you putting your footprint on this band? And in the very near future, will we see the great Dean Roberts playing blast beats?
Dude, oh my gosh, I wish. Dean is not a death metal guy at all.
I wouldn't think he would be.
I tried to talk him in, and when the new album comes out, you'll hear what I'm talking about. There are little things, like little Easter eggs of my voice becoming way more gritty.
What are the older guys, you know, like specifically like somebody like Dean Roberts, you know, I mean, if you've, and it sounds like you have, if you tried to expose him to death metal, what is the reaction that you get from an old head, just true rock and roll guy like him? Have you ever tried to expose him to the musical stylings of Anal Cunt or Cannibal Corpse or any of these bands? Or no?
Probably not Anal Cunt. He would.
He's not ready for that.
He'd keel over.
He's not ready yet.
No, yeah, I've tried, man. Trust me, over the last 3 years,
He's just not open to it. He's not open to it.
He's cool with whatever sounds good.
You can't teach an old dog new tricks. That's what they say, right? I mean,
he just he doesn't. It's not that he doesn't understand it or doesn't like it. He just likes he likes what he likes. You know what I mean? And that's cool with me, and it works. And sometimes I get to put little Easter eggs in there.
Right.
We have a specific song that I won't mention. I'll let everybody figure it out. But yeah, it's there's some death metal growls if you listen that are layered underneath.
Okay. There you go. Yeah, there you go. It's seeping in there. It's seeping in there. So so you know, I'd have to think though that those old school rock guys, man, and I don't care what they say. Of course, they'll always say that the music is their mistress and it's all about the songs and everything. But those old school guys were definitely getting into rock bands for chicks. And I think the big drawback to being in a band like Anal Cunt is there's not a lot of chicks turning out to see Anal Cunt.
No way.
And, you know, it's a lot of just dudes just there, like all worshiping at the feet of these guys. You know what I mean? But you'd be hard pressed to find. And then you got to stop and think, if you do find a chick in an Anal Cunt show, what kind of chick is she? You know, I mean.
Well, see, that's the thing, man. That's why a lot of bands who were otherwise heavy kind of turned to the glam scene, because that's where the chicks were at the time.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And then the glam scene started to fade away, and then it was like, oh shit, look at all these heavy metal bands that started at the same time. Metallica,
I know.
You know what I mean? Judas Priest, and now they're they're super famous.
And now, what do you think about this big Pantera reunion?
Oh, I'm 100% in, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, you think Dimebag would have freaked the fuck out?
You would have loved this. I personally think, and I think that's why it has why it has the family's blessing, is because I think that I think those two guys were chosen very carefully, and I think for years we've known if it was going to happen that Zach was going to be the guy on guitar. You know what I mean? But I certainly wasn't surprised in the least by Charlie being the drummer. I mean, he has a great relationship with those guys, and they need a drummer. You know, I mean, he's like another brother. You know, I mean. It fits. It fits. I think. I think that's the best possible product that Phil and Rex could go out and put together right there. You're not getting shortchanged right there, and it's cool because you are seeing that lineage. Because you are seeing a fraction of Anthrax. And you are seeing a piece of Ozzy, Black Label Society, Zach. You know what I mean? So it really is becoming quite a special attraction.
I'm all on board, dude. I'm buying my tickets. Like I'm gonna go see them. Pantera is a very big deal in my life,
Me too.
I fucking love that band.
I got my Cowboys from Hell tattoo right there.
Fuck yeah, dude.
There it is. I love them.
Dude, I don't have any tattoos, but when I do, I'm definitely going the music route on them. But yeah, Pantera is a big deal. I used to listen to Vulgar Display of Power every single day.
Oh God, it's actually the centerpiece of my battle vest. You know what I mean? And as you know, as somebody in the rock world, that coveted centerpiece in the middle of your denim jacket is important. And I don't think anything sends a message as much as a guy getting punched straight in the fucking face, like that Vulgar Display of Power album cover. You know what I mean? You know, it's not the greatest piece of art ever, but it sums up, you know, in my mind, it's the best album cover that really sums up what you're about to hear on the album that you're about to put in. That's what it is. It's a punch in the fucking face.
Oh, dude. My favorite part about Pantera is just he's one of those few Phil Anselmo. I mean, aside from all the guitars, because everybody wants to talk about Dimebag, and
right, sure,
Dimebag too, but Phil Anselmo is one of those few singers who can scream and sing at the same time.
Yes.
That's a huge influence to me, and you know, him as a person, different story.
right, yeah. Well, you know, he stepped in it a couple of times, man. But I genuinely do think that you know, that he really sincerely was trying to make amends, you know, for the, you know, for what the community, the metal community, has viewed as his, you know, some grievous errors. You know, I mean, especially making racist statements. I think he'd be the first to admit that wasn't his most shining moment. You know, I mean, people
fuck up, man.
They do. Yeah.
And as long as you move forward and become a better person, you're forgiven. And that's just how I am. I mean, even the worst things, you know, that's just how it is. But I loved him. I mean, this one of my favorite current death metal groups is Gojira, and you know,
very similar. Very similar. Yeah.
He's got that, dude.
Very similar sound. Yeah.
When I study that, I'm like, how do you do that shit, dude? But
yeah.
Getting better at it, so we'll see.
Well, Gojira is like one of those like nice little gifts that France has blessed us with. Yeah, you know, when we stop and think about it, how much great metal or just even great bands have really come out of France.
Oh yeah, dude.
Not a lot.
Yeah, it's kind of funny too, because I saw them, and I was talking to a French guy who's standing right next to me in the audience, and I was like, oh, you know, like, you're from France, so I noticed your accent. He's like, yeah, dude, I've been following these guys since, you know, I was a little kid. And you know, he's like, not too old, but, you know, older than I am. And I was like, what other metal bands do you know from France? And he's like, I don't know.
One. I know. I try to think of them. One day too. You know, I mean, I don't think they've given us much. I said it before. I think they've given us Gojira and fries. That's it.
And fries.
What else have they given us? I mean, I guess berets are pretty cool, but I mean, you know, I don't know if they can lay sole claim to the beret though, because I'm sure any country can make berets.
Yeah, that's true.
I think they were the first guys probably wearing them over there.
We made berets. They're called green berets. You know.
Yeah. Why isn't that ours? Okay, so you know, I do a thing on here with my guests sometimes where you are going to get a pop quiz here. So you're not going to, you're definitely not a guy that's not going to escape doing what I like to call is throwing my guest in the furnace. Can you handle the heat of the furnace, Keith?
I'll try my best.
Okay. Now these are just comparison questions, man. Don't think about it, even though you are being graded. Okay.
Okay.
Halford or Dickinson?
What'd you say?
Rob Halford or Dickinson?
Oh, Rob Halford.
Elton John or Billy Joel?
Elton John.
Bacon or sausage? That's an important one.
Bacon. 100%.
We need to know that. Big party or small gathering?
Big party.
Nice. Nice car, nice clothes?
Nice car.
White lion or white snake?
White snake, 100%.
Passenger or driver?
Driver.
Blondes or redheads? Solve that one for me, too. Tell me.
I'm going to go with blondes.
All right.
I'm a blonde guy.
Sushi or starvation?
Starvation.
You'd rather starve than eat fucking sushi, too, huh?
Oh, sushi. I thought you said thirsty.
Sushi or starvation?
Sushi, 100%. I fucking love sushi.
You love sushi. Okay. Punk or grunge?
Punk.
Nice. And then here's the most important one right here, and this is very important. So give this one a thinking because it has to do with yours truly here. Roth or Hagar?
Roth.
All right, man. You know what? I don't think I can disagree with any of yours. I usually have to take opposition on one, man. But I think looking at yours, you may have scored the first perfect score, because I think that I would agree, except you didn't, because I disagree. Sushi's fucking disgusting, bro. Come on.
Oh, well, dude, here, let me
change my mind. Change my mind.
All right. Please. So what's the freshest fish you've ever eaten?
Freshest in terms of like
when it was caught from when it was put on your plate.
Yeah, see now anytime that I go to the fish section of the supermarket, how do I know how fresh that stuff is though? Like if I go get some salmon or some, how do I know? Do I ask?
Exactly.
That's the key.
So you've never had fresh fish before. So
probably not then, yeah.
So when you walk into a sushi restaurant, and I don't give a shit if it's in Japan on the fucking water.
Okay.
Okay. You walk into a sushi restaurant, none of that fish is fresh. It's at least the freshest fish anybody's ever eaten that doesn't like actually catch fish and everything is probably about 3 to 4 days old.
Okay.
And that's still pretty damn fresh.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
But the fish that you get in any normal sushi restaurant or any fish in general is usually frozen and then thawed out.
Right. Okay. Okay.
And there's a reason why it smells fishy. Now here's the deal. I'm a fisherman. I go fishing for 4 to 8 days, at least once or twice a year.
Okay.
On the coast of Mexico.
Fair enough.
Bluefin, yellowtail.
Okay.
Grouper. I've caught it all. I've caught black sea bass, and had it literally prepared for me less than an hour after I've caught it.
Okay.
You've got to try fish like that in sushi before you tell me you don't like sushi. And I totally understand why you wouldn't if you haven't had it that fresh before. It doesn't even taste like fish. It tastes like the fucking ocean.
Okay.
It tastes like it melts in your mouth and it tastes like you're eating, like if you, let's say bluefin tuna, which is like one of the best tunas for sushi. Okay. You're eating a fish that has just been caught. Like it hasn't even had time to like, chill down on the ice. You catch it, you fillet it, you eat it. That is the freshest fish you can catch.
And I see people sometimes on the fence or not, man, but a lot of them go crazy over the wasabi. Do you need any sauce or accoutrements to go with this, or should you just be eating it just straight?
It depends. In that particular situation that I mentioned, I'll eat it straight.
Straight.
Maybe with a little bit of soy sauce, but you eat it straight just to get the flavor down. If you have fish like that, you're gonna. Oops, I think I lost you for a second. You're gonna change your mind, dude. When I go on these trips, there's a boat that I really like. 2 boats actually, the Red Rooster and the Royal Polaris. Anybody who's in Southern California will know those boats if they go fishing. They're luxury boats. They literally have a chef that prepares you like 3 meals a day.
Right on. Okay.
You'll go over your limit or something, right? Like let's say you hit like a kelp patty and you get like a fuck ton of yellowtail and dorado. They'll take whatever extra you caught and make it on the boat. So that way when you get back into the shore and they check your numbers, you'll come out and you won't get fined or anything like that. But they have leftover fish. Dude, the freshest fish, the best fish tacos I've ever had have been on the boat. The best sushi I've ever had has been on the boat. Like tartar sushi, like regular, like actually like filleted sushi without any condiments or anything.
Yep.
I'm telling you, man, it's a different experience. You got to.
My daughters go wild for it, man. They love it. They love it. They've tried to get me to taste it. Just even taste it, man. But I think I'm putting too much thought into it. It's like we talked about earlier, like with the looking at shit on WebMD. I'm overthinking it, and I'm just thinking about like I'm eating raw fish, and it just doesn't. In my old-fashioned mind, it just doesn't compute. You know what I mean? That I should be eating this raw.
Right.
I've got a preconceived idea, I guess, and it's just that my fish ought to be cooked, and it's just probably because that's how I was raised. Because when I was growing up, sushi wasn't a big craze. Now it's a legitimate craze. I mean, it's
a big deal. I'm a big sushi guy. I eat sushi at least once or twice a week, and I live in Garden Grove, California, which has a lot of Japanese, Korean, and Vietnamese. So. My favorite type of food is Asian food by far. I eat Korean barbecue a lot too. Have you ever had Korean barbecue?
No, I mean not authentic Korean barbecue. No.
It's just it's funny. If you talk to a guy from Korea, they don't really do it like that, like the way they do it here. It's a lot more commercial. but basically you just get all you can eat meat and you grill it yourself in front of like a grill that's in the middle of a table.
Yeah.
Put it on there, and dude, that's my favorite. I love that.
Really? Korean barbecue is good, huh? And like, where do you find this out in California? Are these like food truck type things?
No, so it'll be a restaurant, right? And let's say you go with like 4 of your buddies, right? So there's 5 of you total, and you sit on a table, like sometimes it's round, sometimes it's just a square table, and there's a grill in the middle of the table with a propane tank underneath it.
And they put the show on with the knives and stuff too?
Not that. That's what is that called? Teppin. That's called Teppin.
Because I got one of those here that we've gone to a bunch of times, man. You know, and then that's pretty fun too.
I love that shit.
Yeah.
I haven't been to one in a while, but that's like they're expensive, so I usually only go like.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. It's usually special occasions, man. But like the one we have here is called Sumo, and it's pretty good, man, because you know the guy does come out, and you know I think what you're paying for a lot is the show. You know, I mean, he starts the fire on the grill, and he cuts the onion so it looks like a volcano.
Yeah.
And he starts a fire in there and stuff, and you know chops up the egg and stuff with the cleaver, and just does all kinds of cool shit. And you pretty much watch him prepare your meal.
He puts the egg, he like tosses it up, and it lands
catches it on the hand. Yeah, catches it on the hand. Acts like yeah. It seems like they must all have the same shtick then, right? I just imagine them all going through with their big chef's hats, all going through just practicing the egg trick, like a bunch of them just, you know, like.
Well, I heard that you have to go to school, like you have to go to a certain types of like chef type stuff. Yeah.
And the other thing they're big on is they like to squirt the sake into your mouth too, like from across the table. They'll squirt the sake in. Yeah, they're big on doing that too. They want to get you drunk and they want to get you fed, and then they want to get you the hell out of there so they can bring the next group in.
I remember there was a like a party that I went to or something, and the chef, you could tell he just had a bad day. He was just super tired. And he was trying to do everything and trying to smile, but you could just
that's got to be tough.
And he keeps trying to get this piece of chicken in my friend's mouth, and he's like, it just goes everywhere.
Just move on to the next person. I know they do that too, right? They flip the over here. It's broccoli. You know what I mean? They try to throw a piece of broccoli to you, and you know, it's not your most shining moment, man. Like as you know, as an adult out at a restaurant trying to fucking fly around for this piece of broccoli, you know. But it is fun though. It's fun if you're not seated with other people. If you have enough to have just your party be there, it's much more fun, you know. Because sometimes I've gone there with just my wife, and we'll do the hibachi style, but then they end up sitting you because 8 people can fit around a hibachi, so they'll sit you, and we had a party of 6 and we got 2 extras, so we'll sit you. Then you're sitting there catching broccoli with people you don't know, which seems a little weird, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's a little strange.
You got to go with the group, man.
You got to go with the group. Yeah. So let me ask you this. After we hang up here, will you please keep your hair tied back and then go see if you think you look like Kirk Pengilly from INXS?
Kirk Pengilly.
Kirk Pengilly from INXS. Yeah.
Sure. I'll check it out.
And then you text me, like maybe take a picture of him and hold it up, but keep your hair the way it is right now. You know what I mean? Like as we're seeing it, like not your hair down or whatever. And then you text me and just either tell me yes or no if you see it or not. You know, I mean.
Dude, I'm 100% down. I might forget the name, so I'll text you about it.
Yeah, Kirk Pengilly. Just Kirk from the band INXS. There's only one guy named Kirk in INXS. Yeah. Hey, listen, man. I really appreciate you coming out here and shooting the shit with me and being so generous with your time, man. This was a blast, man.
Fuck yeah, dude. It was a pleasure.
It was super fucking fun talking to you, man. And you know what? I'm putting my stamp of approval on this. As a longtime Leatherwolf fan, I'm giving you my blessing, man. I love Leatherwolf, man, and I've always been so loyal to Michael and shit, man. But so obviously I was a little tentative when I saw them announce it on the webpage. Here's this new diamond in the rough guy, and I'm thinking, who the fuck is this guy think he is taking over our Leatherwolf? Goddamn fucking Keith, I can't pronounce his fucking last name. I'm already mad about this, and I'm glad we got a chance to talk, and I wish you all the best, man. I've heard the single. You got a kick-ass fucking voice. I'm looking forward to the new album, man. I really am.
Dude, thanks, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try my best to make everyone happy. It's not gonna be everybody, but maybe I'll get a good.
Yeah, but you're never gonna achieve that. I mean, the only way to achieve that is to become me, Rex Ruger. Then you can achieve that. I make everybody happy, but I mean, But I'll tell you what, and I've told other front men this, because you don't play an instrument, if you ever want it for a very nominal fee on the side, you know, I could do this kind of correspondence with you, and I can take you to frontman school, and I can teach you everything that I know.
Hell yeah, dude. I mean, you've got it in your genetics.
That's right. I'm glad you recognize that. And I'm glad you said that. I have it in my genetics. That's right. I mean, because there's obviously a lot of elements to being a frontman. We won't bore everybody with going into them now, man. But, you know, stage presence, you know, it's not all just voice. You know, I mean, I'd really love to see if you know how to do what I like to call the David Lee Roth sachet. Do you know how to sachet?
No, what is that?
You know, it's kind of a little, Axl Rose kind of had his dance, you know. I mean, I don't even know if David Lee Roth sachets, but I feel like,
the bob and weave, like in boxing. You know?
Yeah, bob and weave. You know, I mean, you gotta, I want to see a little bit of that. I want you to, any upcoming Leatherwolf shows, I just want to see just a little bit of that in there, just a little sachet.
Just for you, bro, and you'll know. I'll
know. I'll know, man. I'll definitely know. Yeah, it'll be one of those unspoken things between frontmen, you know.
Hell yeah.
And here we are, two great ones. I like to think two legendary ones, man.
Legend. Wait for it. Dairy.
Yes. Hey, listen, Keith, man, this was a lot of fun, bro. Let's stay in touch, man. We'll do it again for sure.
All right. Sounds good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I love what you're doing, bro. And keep up the good work, man. You got big shoes to fill, man, but you can do it, man. I've heard the voice, man. You kick ass, brother. Keep it up, man.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah. Thank you, Keith. Talk to you later, bro. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And there he goes, man. He's got my blessing, man. Keith Adamiak. 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 Go look him up, man, because he just filled the shoes of Michael Oliveri from Leatherwolf. And we've had, I've talked to Michael. I love the band Leatherwolf. This is the guy that's taking the baton and running with it, man. So let's give him our support as Leatherwolf fans. I'm behind him, man. I just want to see the spirit of Leatherwolf go on. You heard it here, man, on SCUM, man. New Leatherwolf album coming out with that young man right there singing on it. And I'll tell you, man, that guy's got some pipes, man. And he's a nice guy, man. Keith from Leatherwolf. Go check out old Leatherwolf shit, man. Leatherwolf fucking ripped. The first band with the triple X attack, man. 3 guitars, count them, just like the X's in my name. 1, 2, 3. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, man. That was fun, man. And as always, man, I'll see you next time on SCUM. This is Rex Ruger reminding you to take it easy and keep it sleazy.